So today we're doing fork seals. This is a 2005 Honda CRF 450X. As you can see, Spanky's pulling off the little guards at the bottom. With the speedo that you have here, you don't have this on the 450R. If you just unscrew this, you may need to start it with pliers to get it to come off. You just pull it aside. You can leave this one intact and just let it hang. This is the incorrect routing. Don't do it this way. It should go from here out around to the back side to this little hanger that you have there, and then up. This is going to cause problems if it hasn't already. So we'll pull the guts and the rest of it out, and once that's free, that one you'll have to get off, Spanky, after we get the axle out. So we'll need to get this shield off as the next. Probably should be the first thing we do. And just take a magnetic dish and we'll just put all the parts into that. You'll want to take off the caliper, and I usually unbolt these and just set them aside because they don't hang pretty. So once you get the disc brake guard off, you go ahead and loosen the bolts on this side. What we're going to do is we're going to take off that nut that you see there, and then we're going to draw this one through. Got to have a great big socket or something to grab that, or you can just push it out from the other side, which we'll probably do. In the meantime, we leave these two tight, and those are going to hold that, so that when we go to take this one off, mind your hand for just a sec. So when we go to take this one off, it'll come off. I believe that one's a 21 or 22 millimeter. So you see we've got these loose. This is a 22 millimeter, and we're going to pull off a couple of bolts on the caliper. It's easiest to just pull this one and this one. That way the whole thing comes off, and we'll just let that hang. This one was actually finger tight, just a little bit spooky. As long as these are snug, your axle will be fine, but you'd lose this, and the next time you go to set the tension across this, you'd be in trouble. Notice on your little bar mounts that you've got a dot stamped in this one. I'll pull the bolt and show you what I mean. Just make sure that that little dot's facing forward on both of them. And when you tighten them down, do them evenly. Don't tighten one down until it's all the way, closed the gap down here. You want that gap to be even on the front side up here and on the back here. See the little gap I'm talking about? So otherwise your bars won't hold properly and it can stress. And alright, so I've got both of these axle pinch bolts all tightened, all four. I get this to where you've got 3 threads. You don't want to have one thread and jack up the thread, so just give it a little tap like that to get it started. You'll see that it's sticking out a little on this side, and that way you don't have to have the big socket. And then go ahead and take your Allen wrench and just use the handle to just kind of knock that through. We've about got the caliper off on this side, and then we'll just go ahead and pull the axle all the way out. Just mind your speedometer thing. See how this got a little flat tab on the top? You'll want to remember that for when you go to put it back together. Just take your foot, put it underneath the tire to support it, set your axle bolt aside, and then just kind of pull it forward, and it should come out of the caliper, no problem. I done said. Come off, no problem. Now be careful, because you're going to lose a lot of weight right here just in the tire alone, not to mention the wheel and rim. So it's usually a good idea to take a couple of 2x4s and stick them under the back wheel, because we're going to lose even more weight. All the springs, there's a lot of weight that goes into these to suspend the bike and save the weight of the rider. So I'll go ahead and put some blocks under there so that the bike doesn't just tip back off of there. Make sure you have some paper towels handy, because this is going to be covered in fork oil. It just gets everywhere. It's kind of like transmission fluid. It's just real light. But once the wheel's off, you can get those inside bolts that hold on the guards there. Now the reason why he has to get fork seals now is because you see all this debris and crap that gets up in there and causes problems, and it all starts because somebody rides it hard and puts it away wet. You get dirt and debris and yuck all around on the fork seals. It usually winds up being on the outside or the back like that, gets flipped on there and then dries on there, and then the next time you go riding, that dry mud or dirt or whatever's caked on gets shoved up into the fork seals and causes them to leak. If you clean it good after you ride it, or make sure it's clean when you begin riding, you don't have dried on dirt, it'll last a lot better. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen the 2 bolts that are at the top here, and the reason we're going to do that is so that we can get the nut loose. We'll leave this one tight temporarily, because it's holding this part like a wrench, like a strap wrench, and then we'll be able to loosen this one up here at the top. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to pull off the little pad here. See, you've got the brake caliper up in the handle there. So we're going to take this, set it on the manual, and then pull these caps, and then that gets the handlebars out of your way so that you can get onto this good. Alright, so what Spanky's going to do here is she's got the foot trick so it doesn't go sliding out and bash into the floor. You loosen the bolt there, twist it, and then watch right back here. See how that's going up a little bit? And then you take the ratchet and then just snug it down again, and that'll hold it like a wrench. But then at the same time, you've got this sticking up so that you can get onto it with your socket or wrench or device of your choice. And that, like I say, that'll just hold that in while we loosen these. You want to crack these loose while they're in the bike, and then you're good. And it's always upside down like that. And the reason why is so that you can, your little air burpers, it's probably a good idea to burp those now. Pull these upper screws out. You want them at the top so that the air gets up to the top like that. Air goes to the top of stuff. So once you have your caps loosened, you can see they're not in the same position anymore. I use a special trademark hidden from camera view tool to do that. It's so amazing. And it's a 50.1 millimeter thing. That's one of the 2 special tools that you have to have. There's 3 technically. One's your seal driver, one's the socket for that, or the cutout special awesome tool, and the other one is coming up. We'll show you once it's in the vise. So go ahead and twist that, Spanky. Spread your hands apart so that you have good control. Grab it low, grab it high. Just twist and just gently glide it out like you're playing that operation game. There you go. And go ahead and take it over to the drain pan, and we'll go ahead and get that one draining. And then you just repeat the same thing over on the other side. You continue to take the cap off the rest of the way. Try grabbing that and getting those loose. It's a lot easier to do it when it's in the bike. Now, she doesn't know this, but that's going to spring load pop up in her face and get crap everywhere. So make sure to get your hand over the top of it. Maybe get your elbow floating somewhere, you know, above it, so you have a little bit of get that elbow up there, right about, yeah, like that.
Oh, like that.
And, yeah, and that way when it does go, you've got a little bit of oomph that you can push it back down with.
Yep.
Did it go?
Well, yeah, it dropped.
Just let it up easily. So the tube starts to drop, that goes up, and so this will come out after we loosen it. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're just going to invert and hang this and let a lot of the fluid drain here so that we don't have to fight it on the bench. See this little hole here? That's going to start draining out, and this is too. And you can position this anywhere you want. Your little trombone going on. So just take that and then just spill it down and just let it drain. I like to bring it to my little workbench area here, because that way I can just hook it on and just let it drain. So I'll just let that be for a little while and come back to it in a second. So to get these undone, the next thing we need to do is we need to get this nut to come off. I usually use an impact gun. It's a 17 millimeter, 19 millimeter. Once you undo that, then you're able to get the rest of this lower part out and the springs. I told her to get her elbow over. I'm thinking of some different forks on the KTMs. When I do those, they always pop up. It's good to just kind of be prepared. I usually do a lot of different forks and I forget. Okay, for this next step, you're going to need your 21 millimeter, I guess it was, not 17 or 19, whatever I said, to crack that free. First thing you're going to want to do is get it loose from this. So you just go ahead and crank it loose. And it'll turn so far, and then it'll just start spinning. When it starts spinning without coming out, then you know that you've got it out far enough. If you want to use an impact gun or whatever, I don't blame you. This takes a while. But once this is out, then you'll have to push it by the rest of the assembly and compress the spring. And then use a special tool that looks like this. It's a 12 millimeter open-end wrench to hold it in. And then another one to hold the thing you're going to see in a minute, and then again your socket to pull it out. It helps to have two people. It's easier if you do, but you can do it alone. You just have to stick your tongue out. So you'll hear it click once per rotation when you're done. So I know now that when I go to push it the other side, it'll come out. So I slide my tube up off camera. I fight towels and tools and all kinds of stuff. And then see how it just pokes its head out like a little turtle. So then I hand this to Spanky and have her pin it while it's out.
Hold on, this has got some crap all over it. Sorry, I don't want to get metal shavings in there.
Good eye, good eye.
Here we go.
Alright. So hold that in there, and then I'll come around the other side with a ratchet and a wrench. I want to say that this is 17 millimeter, but I don't remember for sure. It's size crescent wrench. We're being really picky here today. And we're doing a lot better, cleaner job than the last guy that did it. Just flip that off. And then take this out. Once it comes out, then you can just set that someplace that's clean. And then I'll push the axle back. Then Spanky will pull the spanner.
And pull it out.
Are you out? There you go. Oh. Fantastic. Go ahead, will you aim that? So the next thing you do is take your drain pan. You know, like the little holes that are top and bottom here, get them to drain if they will. Go sideways, put your fingers on the outside of it. Just have your pan catch the rest of the yid that is to come your way. Sounds like bad karma in a Jewish community. Just lay that down like that. If anybody watches Seinfeld, they'll know what the word yid means. It's just stuff. It's like the Jewish equivalent of stuff or crap or whatever, but they got their own special word, yid. It's like in speaking Yiddish. Alright, so now it's time to get all up in here in this business. So you get your dental pick or whatever. I'm stopping this from rotating because otherwise when you go to do your pick, it's just like, I ain't listening to you. It's like some little kid named Roger or something, some untamable creature. So I pry this up. Spanky thinks that's funny. I was hoping she would. She'd either think it's funny or get mad at me. So get this one off, and everything I'm just going to pile it up on this end down here. Next thing you do is take a little screwdriver, clean all the metal shavings off, because this is where we do a lot of metallurgic work, blacksmithing. And just take it and put it close to it, and then wiggle it in, turn it, wiggle, turn. Get a little bite here, a little bite there. It's just like a road trip where you just stop and get a little fast food here, a little fast there. Alright, once it's clear, slide it up the tube, get it out of the way. And then you can't see it, but you're about to, but there's a clip. And you can actually, I always look at the reflection in the pipe to know where to grab. But just grab in there, pull this little guy out. Come here, buddy. Rotate it around. Did you catch that? It's just this little guy here. So once he's out of there, then we can pop the axle out. There's nothing holding it back. So just go. I want to aim that this way. Thanks. Just whack. And then you've got all of your stuff exposed. Now here's a good opportunity for you to just pay attention and see what the order of things are as they came off, and then make a clean spot on your table. It can be oily, is fine, just not any sand or grit or whatever. So make a clean spot on your table, get yourself a couple of flat screwdrivers that are nice and clean. Just set them here and there. A little here, a little there, a little bit everywhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of this off. We start with the bushing here. You want to inspect that and make sure that the gray Teflon is all in place and good. You take your screwdriver and then just touch it against there, rotate it, wiggle, and scoot it on off. And you can just lay it out the way that it goes, like that one goes here. And then you've got this one, same story. Just kind of set it like that. And then pull off your washer, set it down, pull off your old seal that's full of sand and grit, set it aside. Now when you go to take these off, you'll always notice that one side will be slightly tapered. Like this has ribs all the way down it, and then there's a rib missing here so that it can go on. but it kind of seals both ways. There's a spring on this side, spring on this side. It's hard to tell. Look at the outside edge of it and it'll tell you, because that's got to slide into this tube, so it'll be tapered. This is the old seal coming out. This here is the new seal going in, and you can see that it's tapered about right there, so that I can get it to go in. So it's got to go that way. So I'll put that in front of that washer, set that into just nowhere land. And then the next one is this little clip that was holding the seal in. So I'll take that and set it here, pull off the dust seal, and I'm going to clean this really well. The only one that never comes off is this one, and that's the one that I pried off of here when we were talking about Roger, you know, hold it down. So that's how that all goes. Just clean everything up really good. A lot of people reuse the dust seals. This customer didn't buy any dust seals, so I guess I reuse it. I hate reusing these because they're always chewed up and don't do a good job. And then I get blamed when it leaks again. Oh, woe is me. Such a whiner lately. What is my problem? I don't know why Spanky puts up with all my whining. She's going to slap me. So anyway, this goes on obviously so that the little spring is out or down, and then so it'll fit into here like that again. So once that's cleaned off, you can just stick that right back on there. When you go over the bumps here, it's an important thing to go this way and that way so that you step over here, because otherwise this little edge is just going to cut your stuff. And as painful as that sounds, it is. So then this goes on, and then your new seal goes on. Being mindful of this, put a little oil on it. Everything's an oily mess, so that's typically not a problem. So just put that on there. Just work it forward, work it back. Don't cut it on the edge. Some people will put this one back on and slide it over. It's probably a good idea. Another thing that you can do is take your pick, or a dental pick or something of that nature, and just kind of help it along. This one's a really tight, high-grade seal. Apparently it doesn't want to get on there. I bet it'll do a good job sealing and holding the oil back though. Gently, we don't want to add damage to this. Just kind of spin it on there, just so that it doesn't get cut. Don't want to cut the bottle. I love saying cut the bottle. It's my favorite line from the movie Bubble Boy. See, that was all wiped down. There's still all that much crud on there. Look at that. Just accumulates it. Got our seal on there, and then we slide this back on. And then this guy. I didn't clean that. Too bad. Be sure to clean these, especially if your seals have been for schitzeled and they're full of sand. These are usually the ones that die, if any of them are going to die. This one looks like it's okay. Man, that got for schitzeled. Throw this on there. Clean this one up too. So otherwise it's going to be jealous. I want to be cleaned up, Daddy. How come you never clean me? And you'll never hear the end of it. That sounds gross. You hear sand under it, even though I wiped it down. Okay, so next thing we want to do is get a little bit of our 5-weight oil, get it on our pinky finger. Clean pinky finger. Splash a little on there. You just get these lubes so that everything is agreeable and goes together nicely. Paint a little of this and that, a little on here so that it wants to go together. Can't we all just get together and get along? See how I modified that quote? I wanted to say that. Okay, so then this goes on here. Check it, make sure it's clean. These are typically clean. I have no idea why parts of it get gritty and others don't. But anyway, the washer's going to drive the slide or the bushing in, and we're going to drive the seal in, and it's going to look something like this. Here's the next specialty tool. As a driver, you can get one for Tusk for about 40 or 50 bucks.
There you go.
Is that good? So they just come together with the pins like this. It works like a slide hammer. Just take it like this. Make sure you got good range. And you can either hit it with this, bam, 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 or you can hit it with the other. And you just hit it in until you can see that there's enough room for this to get in there. And then you just take it and stick it in there. You guys see how bald I am? Look closely. It's pretty glorious. Took a lot of testosterone and a lot of awesome to make that hair go away. So get all that going on. Our seal's in good. So then we're going to go ahead and put our dust seal back in. I'm so manly I can hardly stand it sometimes. It's all chainsaws and lifted trucks, I tell you what. And just take your little clip and get it started on one side and then just work it around. Work it, work it, work it. Meow. I'm a professional. And then it clips in and you're good. And then for the rest of it, we're just going to put that part that's hard to do on camera with the spring that sticks out the end. We're going to put that together and then show you how to fill this nonsense. I really don't feel like doing this video right now, so you better like it. And I mean click like, dang it. So tired. Alright, I don't feel like doing videos, but it's like I really want to get some information out there because I like to help people and just say, read my book, or I don't have a book, it's my videos. But so you put this through here, hold the bike. Oh, why do I feel like I suck? Okay, so you get that in there, wipe all the crud off from the last guy, and see how this tube's sticking out and there's a flat part to it? You put the, clean that off too. I already cleaned it like 3 times, so there's a flat spot that corresponds to it, so get that to go in, so otherwise you're going to have problems. And then go ahead and get it started, eh? So just screw that on by hand until you get to the end. This is the end, my one and only friend, the end. Turn it to the back, get your crescent wrench on the flat spot. No waning, ending trend, the end. I just make up my own words if I don't know them. Those kind of work. No waning, ending trend, the end. So then you torque that down to about Newton meters. Take your wrench back off, or as Spanky says, get it guten tight. Sounds like guten Tag, good day. Alright, so I grab the vise, pull my wrench out, slide that back in there, and then snug this down. Remember, this is tightening into soft metal. This isn't so soft, it's actually steel, but this is soft. You don't want to strip the threads. Why do these threads feel so long? Who tightened that anyway?
I don't know. Some apprentice,
I'm
probably.
blaming the new guy, the new gal.
There you go.
Snug. Good and tight. Snug that up. Alright, so now the next thing that we're going to do is we got to change the oil in this little critter. So we're going to hold on to this, loosen this, and change the oil. This one's gross. It looks like crap, so we're going to clean it. Probably use some brake parts cleaner and flush that out before opening this. We don't get contamination inside of there. All up in here. Alright, so we're going to take the cap off here. I have to use pliers because my special amazing tool that I would use for this normally isn't available right now to be on camera. There's patents and all this. It's legal stuff you wouldn't understand. So once it's loose, like a goose, you start pulling it up. You can take a flat screwdriver that has been meticulously cleaned and sanitized and just pry it slowly. Don't do it by the threads, do it by the top part, and then get underneath of it. You hear it kind of sucking, because sometimes these things, you know, these are amazing forks. These are my favorite forks of all the different ones I've run. I love Showa. But the mess it makes sucks. That's why it makes that sound. So take this, lay this, see that? Like freaking messy. So you take that, don't breathe the vapors that come out because of the sudden decrease in pressure. Just pour out the fluid. If you're just doing fork seals, probably don't even need to mess with this. But if you haven't changed it in a long time, it's probably a good idea. When you go to put the new stuff in, the new 5-weight, I use a salad dressing thing because it's graduated like some kind of smart college person. So I just fill that up till it's 6.6 and pour it back in. How much did I pay? $6.49 a bottle. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. 6.6. Pour it in. Fill her up, push the thing back in, tighten her down. And then, when we get back on camera, we're going to do my special mix for heavy guys. And we're going to fill it up to about 13.5. The more you put in above 12.9, the stiffer it's going to be. And then I add even a little bit more stiffness by adding a little 10 weight. So I fill this up till 8. And then from 8 to 13.5, do a little 10 weight, and it gives it a really nice, beautiful cooking show color. Oh, look at that. I want to drink it. Red, red wine, stay close to me. Don't let me be alone. Wearing fine, unintelligible lyrics. My blue, blue sky. Am I still recording? Is this thing on? So then I take a wrench. Any wrench will do. If you're going to use a crescent wrench, like some kind of cholo gangster, make sure that you have it nice and tight, because this is aluminum and you will chew the crap out of it and it will look like you are a full tool. Anyway, tighten this down. I'm only going to tighten it till I get to the O-ring for sake of expediency. So I thought I was talking about travel there for a minute. Expedia. They didn't even pay me to say that, it just comes to mind. So get it up to about the hole here that you see there. And then take your salad dressing spout. This is why this is so beautiful. It's great. If you know anybody that sells a Pampered Chef, be friends with them, go to their thing. So you have the tube at least up to the hole, and don't pour it in at the hole. You just go like this and just pour the stuff in. And this takes some time. You can lean it that way and you can go a little bit faster. But you got to fill it in on the side. And this little Italian dressing mixer from Pampered Chef is just the tool. I stole it from my wife. I was like, that is awesome. And it even has metric on it. So if you don't like ounces, you don't gotta do ounces. You can do cubic centimeters. So we're just pouring stuff in, we're just hanging out. Big gulps, huh? Awesome. Look, is those skis yours? Really? Both of them? Alright, so we just start to lean, get a little Tower of Pisa going on here. Look at that yummy 10 weight. This thing's gonna freaking ride like a boss. You just slide your tube up, hold it, just spin your tube around like so. It's like spinning in a pan of oil. Don't pinch your gloves like I always do, freaking every time. At least a little bit, and then I remember, oh yeah, dummy, don't pinch your gloves. So I'll do it again. Oh, what a day. I just had a wiring job where I had to rewire the lights on this guy's trailer that he lent to his in-laws. When they left it plugged in, it ripped the wire harness right out of the dang thing. It's like a big double axle, heavy duty, weighs a lot trailer. And it had electric brakes and every stupid thing on that. I mean, the truck plug got jacked, the plug to the trailer got jacked, the wires got ripped out, the brakes were bad, the lights were ripped off of the trailer because they tried to fit. Anyway, I'm gonna quit whining and put this on. Hey, watch this. I say, hey, watch this, and walk off camera, and Spanky's like, wait, because she's like all professional and wanting to be stable and stuff. You just take this. Remember how the comp was upside down when we took this off and at an angle so you can get to it with a screwdriver? Just remember to do that. So you take your bolts here, tighten them down. You guys want to see the coolest pants ever? Check that out. I don't think you can see that. When I say cool, I mean just like not hot and sweaty. I cut the backs out of my pants so that it's nice and breathes good, and then I sew that little patch on the front, and then it's double layered so when I go to kneel down I don't get dirt and ingrown hairs and broken hairs and all that noise. So you tighten this one down, leave this one loose, go ahead and use your special tool, torque that down to the appropriate specs, which are listed in this book that I didn't look at. I know how much I feel.
While you're looking for that, if they want to see a good visual of your pants, they can just watch how to set up a tent trailer.
Oh yeah, there they are. I have a video.
And push
Anyway,
like.
I forget how many Newton meters, but you don't want to torque it too much because these are soft metals. But we'll go ahead and torque those down, loosen these up, make this back to your appropriate ride height. Now when you're doing these, this height right here, if you're doing supercross or something where you have really tight corners, you want this, or you're a shorter rider, you want to ride this a little bit high, and just make sure they're the same on both sides. If you're in the outdoor series and you got ruts and rocks and all kinds of nasty stuff, you want to ride them pretty low. Big sweeping turns, you want to have them set low. So, and this one's just going to be for kind of desert racing on the weekends. So we're going to set it pretty low so we have the maximized ground clearance and also just so that you can do the big sweeping turns. So excited right now. So we got to do the handlebars and some other stuff, and then after that's on, we're going to show you how to do the wheel to get the axle just happy. But as far as putting the handlebars together, it's pretty cut and dry. Just make sure that those bolts, like I said at the beginning, you have an even gap so that you're not crooked or bound or whatever. You want to be, you know, nice and straight as that clamp goes down. So the next thing you want to do is take your fasteners for the boots and put them on the inside before you put the wheel on. Once the wheel's on, you won't be able to get to these. It's a good idea to put a little blue Loctite on them so they don't fall off. Make sure to wiggle this so that you don't crush it. Make sure that it goes in. It's got a little tapered section on the bolt, and that's what holds this on. So make sure to get that into place. The routing for your speedometer cable for the 450X is to come up around this back side here. This one was wrapped around some funky chicken way. So we corrected that. And like I say, just make sure to get both of them, because you ain't going to be able to get to it here in a minute. And then the routing for your brake hose is just straight down across here to the back, to the outside. Cut. You remember where these went? I do. This one goes on the brake rotor side. You stick it in there, the seal will hold it in pretty good. Now what I do is I turn this one away. Turn away, don't look, I'm changing. I'm putting stuff on. And then this one kind of like that. Not too extreme of an angle, just a little. See your two little notches that you have here? Make sure to line those up with the wheel so that it gets down nice and flat. And remember that this little ledge needs to sit up here on this little ledge. So pick up your wheel, put your shoulder to the wheel, put it on. Do your duty with a heart full of song. We all have work, you stupid jerk. Put your oh, that's not how it goes. Okay, so you just put the axle through like that, And don't put it through all the way, just enough to hold your little nub that you see there, and then put it in the rest of the way. And you'll notice that I'm using my toes to hold and position the wheel, and you can grab the outside. Don't grab the brake rotor with your greasy, oily hands, dang it. I just mopped this floor. But go ahead and push that in, Spinks. You need a hammer. You need a little bend below soft-faced hammer. Try that. Works great for me. Just gently tap it in until it's kind of flush. Okay, with that in place, we can put on our speedo cable. Put the cable end in first, wiggle it, make sure it's nice and straight so you don't cross thread it. Gosh darn it. And just thread that on there. I don't have all these requests for renditions of put your shoulder to the wheel. I'm just that awesome. I think I am. Alright. So, yeah, narrative. I do like coffee top. I'll give you some topics. Let's talk about some topics. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is put the nut on. Once this is in pretty snug and it's in there pretty flush, you can kind of turn this at an angle. Just kind of tap it with a soft face hammer. You get a screwdriver, put it on the edge so it doesn't go all the way through. There's a little lip in the inside. No one will ever see. And you want to torque this down. You don't want to crush your bearings, but you do want to be snug. So we'll go ahead and we pass the ratchet. Remember what size this was? I do, 22. So I want to snug this one down just till it's kind of snug. What I like to do is put the brake rotor on it. I haven't done this very tight, just a little bit. See, it still rolls really well. I'll take the brake caliper and put it on. If it's closed up or whatnot, you can take a screwdriver, a clean screwdriver, like that matters. This thing's covered in fork oil. Fork you, brake pad. You're a mess. So then we get told that dinner's ready, and we'll put the caliper on. Hey, sweetie. So take the bolts for that. These ones have white paint on them. We don't know why. They just do. We'll get this on, and then we'll put the bike off the stand on the ground, and we'll use the brakes to pump the fork to make sure that everything's even between the two. And then we'll tighten down this side right here before we put it down on the ground. I'll show you here in a minute. I just make sure that this centers properly so that it will give you good results and happy fun riding time, as they say in Japan. Pump up the brakes, pump it up. So I hit down on the shocks a couple of times, get it to kind of center, and then once we do, because this is an X, we got a kickstand. Makes it sound like some kind of past relationship when you call it an X. It's a 450X. Just snug that one last time, just a little. It's funny after you do that how you always get just a little bit more snug. You don't want to crush it. And then tighten these ones down. Whack the spokes, they're kind of musical. You'll like that. I'm so much more professional when I don't have a long, frustrating day and a demanding deadline to get this done and out of here, so that I have enough parking and don't piss off the neighbors. So then after all of that's done, you can take your brake iron. Of course, what we did is we went and took some brake parts cleaner. We took an old cookie pan from Salvation Army, stuck it up underneath of there, and sprayed the stuff with brake cleaner because it had all that fork oil. Our brakes were lubricated. The owner's brakes are lubricated. Saved my bike. Mine's an what is mine? I think mine's an 07 450X. It's funny as I used to be jealous of this guy because I had an 05 450R and he had an 05 450X, and I was like, oh, that would be awesome. Someday I will have one and I'll put a street legal kit on it. Now I got the 07 with the street legal kit, and this guy dropped it off. He's like, oh, I'm so jealous. That's fun. So anyway, voila, it is done. That's how you do fork seals. And you're welcome. How can you repay me, you ask? I'm glad you asked. You can click subscribe, click the like button, and help other people find it and all that good stuff. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and try to spell good because I'm a grammar Nazi. Just getting that. Just kidding. Sentence structure is awesome. I have a lot of respect for that. And thanks for watching. You wouldn't think so after this video, but yeah, anyway, deal with it. Go forward, be awesome.